coming up tonight, this weekend, next week. What's the plan? Is it PJs and Netflix? Are you guys going to Las Vegas after tonight? Like, I would love to know what the plans are for all of you.
Well, my wife and my parents and I are all going down to Mexico for a week. So we've got an all-inclusive resort, so I'm going to spend the next week not moving from a pool deck chair with a margarita in my hand, constantly refilled, is my plan. But I did just spend the last hour guzzling Pepto-Bismol, trying not to throw up. So tonight may be a little more low-key. But tomorrow I'll start celebrating my downtime.
Yeah, Jake's going to Mexico and Desi's going to Bali, and I might go to New Hampshire. So it's not quite as impressive as these guys, but yeah, maybe go visit my wife Ann. Her sister lives in New Hampshire. Go hang out with them and just take it easy. Jake and I were joking before, when you have a good race, it's kind of like you have a celebratory beer, and then when you have a bad race, you might go to tequila or something harder. So if you see Jake and I consuming tequila, then you know how we feel. But no, it's always cool to celebrate with teammates and other runners at marathons, because, you know, whatever happened that day, the race is over, and it's time to celebrate your friendship with other runners.
Taking a big vacation. We're going to go to Bali. Might be using hashtag Bali so hard. I don't know yet. No, I think it's a big trip to plan before your day goes, and you hope that it's a fun trip, but getting to the finish line and celebrating the hard work and all we've put in, and the 4 years you've thought about this day, however it turns out, you have to pat yourself on the back and just say, good job, and celebrate it, because it's hard. What we do is really hard, and so that's my plan.
I would say there's, I guess fraternity is not the exact right word, because there's women involved too, but they're kind of involved. No, but like, everybody here has done 2.5, 3 months of build-up. Like, you know, training plans are different across the board, but you know how hard everybody else has worked, and like, you know how much went into this race, and so, you know, your competitors on the course, but afterwards, like, everybody knows it's time to cut loose and have a lot of fun. So I would say that post-marathon parties can be some of the most fun, because everybody's just so relieved to finally have the race done. Everybody's about to take downtime. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
Not great. I mean, emotionally fantastic. I was talking to my husband Ryan, and it's like, this is the weight of 4 years of waiting to really say I'm an Olympian, and you know, be proud of 2012, and even just going through that process and getting that experience, because it was like, we're going to make it 2016, and that's going to be super valuable, and it's a lot of pressure. So it's a weight off. I'm ecstatic to be on the team again. I feel horrible physically. So.
Okay, follow-up question?
Yep.
So last summer you ran I thought, a very cool series of 5,000s and 10,000s. And sometimes you mention your aversion to track, especially after you've done a marathon. Will we see you back on the track after you survive Bali and start coming back?
If I survive Bali. I actually really enjoy the track. I think it's fun. I mean, I've run 15:08 and 31 mids. I would love to get faster. It's really hard on my lower legs. I run into a lot of trouble, and it was this calf thing I had that was nagging me. It came right on the tail end of Pan Am's, and I'm not sure it's worth it.
Sure.
So I hope I'm not on the track.
Thanks, Coach.
You know, kind of a follow-up on that. It's important, and Des understands the importance of not being just a marathoner, but that doesn't mean that we can't find speed elsewhere. Sure. You know, whether it be, you know, 8K, 10K road races, so on and so forth, things that are... so she understands that in honing her skill, that ignoring speed stuff and just doing marathon, recover, creates stagnation, and so the goal is never her goal. Our goal is always to develop, and that doesn't change as for a two-time Olympian or for someone that ran for the first time. We're still trying to be better tomorrow than we were today.
Yeah, I'll ask Desi first, and then I can ask you guys too. I know down there around USC, Desi, there was a lot of turns and stuff. How did that play into today? Did it help you out, or did it not matter?
I didn't think they were super significant until the last lap when my calves were a little edgy. I was watching a lot of the curbs, making sure I was taking the flattest line. The turns didn't really bother me too much. So.
Okay. How about Bobby, for you?
I have a really messed up pinky toe because of the turns. Like, I was trying to take like a pretty aggressive line early on, and I tend to supinate. So the turns were kind of rough on me, but I think overall it didn't have an effect, like a massive effect on my race, other than a bloody pinky toe.
Yeah, physically, I don't think there was any significant difference. I mean, it makes it a little bit more difficult just because you have to slow down going into it and then speed up, so you get pace change stuff, but everybody has to deal with that, so it's not like a significant disadvantage. But I was thinking this before the race, and I probably did play out that way for me. Mentally, I think the turns actually help a little bit, because instead of thinking like, oh, I'm hurting like you would on Figueroa, the turns, you're like, once you get out of one, you're thinking about the next one, so it kind of takes your mind off of it, and next thing you know, you've made it through, another mile, or at least for the first 3 laps. Last lap, the miles couldn't come quick enough. But I do think just having some way to mentally break up the race, whether that's saying I just got to get to 10 and then I have 16 to go, whatever. But get to the next corner. I think that definitely helped me a little bit to sort of bookshelf my race. Bookend. There it is.
Desi, would you kind of go through, I want to ask you 2 questions about the race today. First, how did you, where was your head at during the first half of the race?
I was in bed. I didn't feel very good at that point. Like the first lap I knew was going to be just be really patient and feel it out. The second lap, Kellen made a big move, and it just looked like they were ready to roll. I don't know if I needed a longer warm-up because I'm old or what, but I felt like 540 was at that point where I didn't want to get too aggressive and go beyond that. And I knew the second half was going to be hotter, and I was going to have to pick it up and really do the damage after 20 and 22. So I kind of just was in snooze mode on the first half, and just like, let's wait for the race to come back and really start later past 20.
Did you sense over the last 5 to 6 miles what was going on in front of you? Did you know that Shalane was having some issues that can you kind of sense in races? Because I've watched you before make your moves in the second half of a race, and you pick people off, and it seemed like that was kind of going to plan.
I just understand the marathon. After 20, it's all bets are off. If you made mistakes early, especially with this heat, it is going to be magnified, and it's going to get worse past 22. So I just put your head down and grind the whole day. You got to run 26.2. You can't run 24, and you fight for every spot. Every spot matters. And so I saw Kevin, I think, at 22-ish. That's probably about it. And he was like, you can catch them. You can catch them. I said, I feel horrible. I don't think I can. He said, cut it in half. And then sure enough, like, all right, I caught one more person than I expected to. So you just have to fight for every spot out there.
Neither one of you can answer this. Was the race more difficult weather conditions than you guys expected? Or were you pretty worried?
It was more difficult than I expected a month ago. It was not more difficult than I expected over the last 10 days. Over the last 10 days, we kind of knew. I mean, a month ago was part of the reason we were in Florida. But yeah, I mean, it was. They had a warm front. I mean, although I shouldn't say that because I guess the next 2 days are warmer. But yeah, they had. It's unseasonably warm for here. But we've known that for 10 days out or so. It's been the last 2 weeks. You know, I only check weather.com probably 3 times to 4 times a morning. You know, so it's like, you know,
So no pressure, no.
Yeah, no, honestly, like, oh, change 1 degree. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, honestly, I'm really in tune with what the weather's going to be. So we were not surprised by the weather. The question then is not what the temperature is going to be, but how much that affects you as a runner, and whether it affects us more or less based on the fact that we're heat acclimated. So we had to make decisions. A ton of it's guesswork, you know, a ton of it's guesswork, and you look afterwards, and when somebody doesn't finish as well as you like, like he said, I did a great job of assessing what it took to be third, and that part might be true, but I think I did a poor job of assessing what they should be, because if I did a better job, they would have finished better, is what it is. So, you know, so it's truthfully, that's the game you play with the weather, is as it gets hotter, you know. And does 10 degrees affect one athlete 7 seconds a mile and another 10 seconds a mile? And how important is that 3 seconds a mile? Well, it's huge. And so I think those are all questions that become a little bit of guesswork.